Hi crafting friends, a warmest welcome back to my channel. My name is Lisa. For those of you who are new, a special welcome. In today's compilation video, I'm going to show you some highlights from a recent Dollar Tree tour and haul, as well as 29 of my favorite spring Easter inspired DIYs. Most of the DIYs in this compilation video use Dollar Tree items and are all created in a budget-friendly, easy, and high-end style. You'll see lots of new items, and there's some returning favorites that are great for crafting, the carrots as well as the little bunny tails. I'll show you later in the video some fun ways to use those. Here also the window cling. You can use them to decorate the Dollar Tree vases in such delightful ways. If you're interested in lots and lots of fun ways to decorate the Dollar Tree vases, I have an entire video dedicated to 27 ways that you can use them in all different beautiful settings. I think they're one of the most versatile items that Dollar Tree sells. There's a lot of wall decor with Easter themes, some of it new, some of it returning favorites, and these are brand new. I really love the new colors they've introduced. The bunnies are so sweet in the pastels. Here's more of the wall decor, and I'll just give you some quick glimpses. The tinsel items are really fun to elevate. As you know, those of you who watch my channel, I love to take the tinsel off and replace it with a plush yarn. This one is cute, and I used one of these in the past to decorate a box. I want to show you more closely. These are very nice quality for $1.25. They have them in soft blue, soft pink, kind of that rainbow color. Here's one in lavender, and they have a weighted base, so they stand up nicely. They're very soft, and there's so many ways that you can use these in your Easter displays. Here's some really fun ways that I've used them, as well as the bunny tails on picks in some projects that I did last Easter. They are just adorable, and if you'd like the details on these, please do take a look at my channel. Here is a wide display of headbands, and I've seen these used for a variety of crafts. The eggs are also very handy, not only for your egg hunts and Easter baskets, but for using in craft projects. And I'll just give you a glimpse here of some of the ways that I've decorated these eggs. I've done yarn wrapped eggs, glittered eggs. Here's one of the little boxes that I decorated with that hanging design and filled it with speckled eggs. Here are more of the yarn wrapped eggs using the Dollar Tree Just Chenille. They have an incredible assortment. I've never seen this many different egg styles anywhere. So have fun taking a look. Here are more of the springtime florals, and again, lots of berries and picks and brightly colored assorted flowers. As we move through the florals, I'm going to take you next to show you some new basket designs. Here's just more of the crafting items and a large selection of party wear. These are the baskets that they've introduced new, and they have more bands of color. These are the higher price point baskets. I believe these were, $3 a piece for these. But they're very nice, and there's so many different ways that you can decorate using Mod Podge techniques. I've done quite a bit of that on my channel if you'd like to see some demonstrations. Here's some more garden-themed decor, along with all of the little miniatures for the little villages. You can see here the fairy garden designs, the gnomes, the little huts and houses. These frogs are adorable. They have several different designs. They're very heavy, and whether you leave them as is or spray paint them, I think they would be so charming among your planters. Here's a glimpse of the expressions from Hallmark cards for $1 or less. Here are one of the best items at Dollar Tree, the very versatile glass vases, which come in all different shapes and styles and go from the $1.25 price point up to the $5. These large stacking eggs are a very popular item, and they had just gotten in quite a supply of them. Here's another spring-inspired display with floral garlands and lots of leafy garlands, as well as some more wall decor, plates, paper plates, and these pretty chargers or placemats. These napkins I was really impressed with. They had a pretty fan-shaped design, and I did pick some of these up. I'm going to use them in combination with the lavender and white gingham check. I'm going to decoupage some beautiful basket and Easter egg designs. So as we go from snowflakes to spring blossoms, it's so much fun to craft with the spring-inspired color palette, florals, and anticipation of Easter. I did want to show you some of my favorite finds from this haul. I found the sweet little Easter basket for my grandson for $5. It's very nice quality, very plush and sweet. And I also found some of these wooden cutouts. They're very thick for $1.25. I'm real pleased with the quality. I bought the bunny as well as the carrot design. Here's the lovely picture frame, as well as those beautiful napkins with the flowers and butterfly in the fan shape. And I'll share with you in upcoming videos some fun ways to use those, as well as this adhesive wallpaper. Using one of the Dollar Tree arched frames and a rub-on transfer from IOD, I created this charming little piece of artwork. Bunnies are the inspiration for these next projects. As you see, I have decorated two of the little bunnies that I got at Target using spray paint and air dry clay. Using adhesive wallpaper from Dollar Tree as well as some of their faux fur, I also embellished the wooden carrot and the bunny and decorated one of their mirrors. If you're enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you would give it a like, a thumbs up. Both the bunny and the carrot are really nice quality, and I'm going to show you ways to elevate the look of those using first the Dollar Tree wallpaper. After it's cut out, you can just adhere it to the carrot. I'd recommend doing it on the back side. I did it on the front, but it's better to do it on the back and then leave that more finished side exposed. Anyway, you see I'm just removing that backing protective sheet, revealing the adhesive, and then all you have to do is lay it down and trim away the edge. I'm using an X-Acto knife to trim around the edge against a self-healing mat, and then I'm going to use a piece of sandpaper to sand, as you see, these straight lines to get a nice crisp edge. That will allow you to just easily peel away that excess paper. Next, you can see I'm using two pretty ribbons that coordinate with the design just to wrap around the top part there of the carrot. And that adds a nice detail. I'm also going to add a pretty embellishment that I got in a package from Hobby Lobby. These are really sweet little flowers, and it also included some butterflies. Hot glue works great just to make that attachment. Next, you can see this is all done. You can always add more embellishment if you like, but it does sit on its side, and I'm going to use it as part of a centerpiece with this sweet little fuzzy rabbit that I'm going to show you how to make next. To begin, just take one of these pieces of the faux fur from Dollar Tree and one of the cutout bunnies. This faux fur, as I have shown you on a previous Dollar Tree tour, is so nice. It's very plush, and it comes in a variety of colors. For this, I'm just going to flip the faux fur over and outline the design of the bunny. You want to do it broadly so that you have a little bit of overhang. You can see I'm just using a pen to go all the way around the design, and then I'll cut that out. Once I have it cut out, I'm going to attach it to the wooden form using some Mod Podge. A thick coat of the regular Mod Podge applied with a sponge brush, both of which you can buy at the Dollar Tree, will serve to adhere it nicely. Next, I'm using this X-Acto knife, once again just to outline the design and eliminate that excess fur. And then after I embellish around the neckline, using that same ribbon and embellishment that I used on the carrot, I'm going to add some strips of the faux fur down the sides so that it will have a three-dimensional furry effect. To do that, you can use the rest of the fur from that original piece and just cut strips and attach those strips all along the side using some hot glue. And there you have it. You've just seen how easy it is to elevate the wooden cutout bunny using a piece of the faux fur. This next fun project uses two little bunnies that I bought from the Target dollar spot. Any undecorated, plain bunnies can work well for this project. I'm showing you here a little silicone mold that has little rosettes. I'm also going to be using some DIYS air dry clay as well as this cornstarch that I have dedicated just for projects. And what I'm going to do is just use my paintbrush to dust some of the cornstarch in the silicone mold. Then I'm going to push some of the air dry clay down into those designs. The cornstarch works really well to allow the air dry clay to release easily from the mold. If you're enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you would give it a like, a thumbs up, and I'd also love to hear your comments in the comments section below. You can also use the air dry model magic clay that Dollar Tree sells, but I had this DIYS air dry clay that I purchased from Michael's, and it's a very nice product. You see how I'm just pushing it very deeply into the mold so it will pick up every detail of those designs, and then I'm just using my finger to press away the excess clay. Now that each little mold is filled, pressed down, and leveled off, I'm going to then just simply flip it over and allow gravity to assist. Just peeling back against that silicone mold enables those little flowers to just come out. That dusting of cornstarch was also helpful, and they pop out so easily, revealing a lovely, intricate detail. Now, there's no need to allow them to dry. You can simply pick them up carefully, and I'm using some tight bond on the back side to decorate the little bunnies. You can see how sweetly this little bunny is offering this pretty flower. I'm going to add some of the other flowers to the bunnies, and then I'm going to allow all of that to dry before we spray paint them. For the next bunny in the reclining position, I'm using this smaller rosette with some of the tight bond glue attached, and then I'm just going to place that right on top of the little paws. I think that fits so nicely there. You can use another type of glue. I'm just using that tight bond because I have it, and it's a very versatile glue. It's fun to embellish these bunnies with these easily created air dry clay flowers. Now, while that's drying, we're going to move on to decorating this mirror. Dollar Tree sells these circular wall art mirrors for $1.25, and all you have to do is remove the saran wrap from them, and you have a nice blank surface to decorate. I've used this mirror to decorate with rub-on transfers from IOD, but today I'm going to use some of the Rub and Buff, a sponge brush from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add some beautiful gold color to that outer frame. I wanted to brighten it up, so rather than just use a light amount of the Rub and Buff for highlighting purposes, I'm actually going to use a little bit more just so that we get a golder tone. This next easy step is to attach this sweet little nest. This was actually something I had in my stash, and to do that, I'm using some more of the tight bond glue to glue it right in place along that inner rim. Hot glue would also work great. I'm just now adding a sprig of greenery that I had just to further embellish around the nest. And that's all there is to it. It has a little hanger on the back so you can see how pretty it looks on the wall. These $1.25 mirrors are amazingly versatile. As you saw, you can use them with rub-on transfers. You could paint the outer frame or just embellish it. Now let's hop on over to our little bunnies. The tight bond glue has nicely dried, the flowers are attached, and I'm using this Rust-Oleum spray paint in short bursts just to give them a nice coverage. The result is amazing. Whenever you use spray paint, be sure to do it outside and wear a mask. While the spray paint dries, we'll make this fun DIY. You want to choose one of the Dollar Tree arched frames. They're $1.25, easily taken apart. You see I'm removing the thin sheet of glass as well as the cardboard backing. I'm using a pretty piece of decorative paper. This was actually off the back of a card that I received, but you can use any decorative paper that you choose. I'm using one of the Dollar Tree glue sticks to adhere that piece of paper to the back of our cardboard inset. Then I'm going to go ahead and just reinsert that, and you see what a beautiful matte background that creates. Then just simply rotate those clips back in position and your frame is ready to go. The easel back makes it nice as well because it'll make it so nice for display. Now, pretty as it is, just to begin, we're going to choose one of the rub-on transfers from IOD. IOD is Iron Orchid Designs, and they have some really pretty molds and transfers and a wide variety of items for crafting. I'm cutting out this little bunny transfer. Now, Dollar Tree also has lovely rub-on transfers. Stickers from Dollar Tree would also work, but I'm going to show you just how easily you can create a lovely piece of artwork with this simple techniques. And I'm using the little rub-on stick that came with the set of transfers. And now it's peekaboo for the little bunny as you've created instant artwork against your glass. There you have it. Quite a lovely, almost three-dimensional effect with the transfer against the glass. Now I'm using some of the Rub and Buff. I'm applying this vintage gold color using a sponge brush, and as you can see, I'm offloading some of that paint before applying it to the contours of the frame. You want a very minimal approach. After I finished applying the Rub and Buff, I created a pretty bow using this ribbon. If you'd like to know where I purchased it, just ask me in the comments below. I love how this cheerful project turned out, and I think it will be so pretty in any spot where it's displayed. As you create these springtime-inspired DIYs, you'll find lots of ways to work them in to your displays. I'm very excited to share with you in this video some fun DIYs that are easy to do and use a variety of Dollar Tree items coupled with some of the IOD transfers. You'll see how to easily and inexpensively you can elevate everyday items into charming springtime decor. For this project, I'm going to show you how beautifully you can decorate one of the Dollar Tree trays, along with one of the IOD transfer sheets. This was actually out of one of their Christmas collections, so I decided just to cut away some of the holly leaves, which are more suggestive of the winter Christmas season, and just leave mostly the pretty tree branch along with a few of the red berries and all of those sweet birds that are so evocative of the coming spring. So I'm just using my scissors here to outline around those designs. And now I'm getting a sense of the placement and removing that back sheet that will reveal the sticky side. You'll want to lay that down against the tray in position. Those grid marks help to center it and line it up straight. Now, I'm using some of these IOD transfers with one of their transfer sticks, but you could also use some of the beautiful stickers that Dollar Tree sells. So here I'm just going over the transfer. It's a shiny, glossy surface, so I do have to use a little bit more pressure with that stick to ensure that the transfer fully applies. And I find that if you start on one side and then just gently work your way over, that works really well to get it to fully release from the carrier sheet. And you want to lift that carrier sheet very carefully, because if you see any of the transfer has not released, you can just lay it back down in perfect position and then just keep on rubbing it as you gently pull back. Within a few minutes, you'll be amazed to see the result. The tray looks as though it has a beautiful painted design. You can see how just gently pulling it back while using that rubbing tool behind works beautifully to get a nice, clean transfer. And here we go, gently releasing the entire sheet. And look at those sweet little birds all ready to sing on that tree branch. You can see there's so many ways you could use this tray. Displayed on one of the Dollar Tree easels, it looks lovely right on the center of our dining table, as well as on an entry table. In an upcoming video, I'm going to show you another surprising way to use it. But for now, we're going to decorate some coasters. Now, I purchased these in a large package from Amazon, and I'm going to use some more of the IOD transfers. Again, these were part of a Christmas collection in a booklet that I had left over. So I thought with the bunny-themed designs, it would look really pretty for spring. And I'm just using that same rub-on tool to go over it. I decided not to even paint the wooden coasters because I think the natural wood grain really does look beautiful against the natural elements of the bunny design. Next, I'm going to add this piece of cork backing. I bought these also from Amazon, and they have an adhesive back. They're cut almost perfectly to size against the back of those coasters. So it's a beautiful fit. I did trim away just a slight overlap, as you can see here. And you can see now the backing is protected. I'm going to add a top coat, but first I want to show you how we can decorate one of the little crates from the Dollar Tree. These are so popular among crafters, and there's just countless ways to use these little crates. Here you see I'm using another one of the transfers to decorate the front. I'm also going to leave this natural because it coordinates nicely with the coasters. I'm decorating this one to use as a holder for our set of coasters that we're going to be completing. Later in the video, I'm going to decorate another one for an entirely different use, and you'll see both designs are really decorative and versatile. And here, another sweet little bunny emerges. And what a simple way to elevate the look of this little Dollar Tree wooden crate. In designing 4 different coasters, I'm going to use 4 of the sweet wildlife scenes. We're going to do bunnies, birds, as well as a couple of other animals. So I'm going to show you first, though, how I'm going to use this DIY top coat product to seal off the surface. That way it'll work beautifully for drink glasses or anything you want to use on the coasters. This is a good sealer and top coat. This is such a fun project, and you can see how easily you can transform these plain wooden coasters. You can find these in a variety of places. I believe Dollar Tree has something similar. Again, I bought mine from Amazon. If you'd like any additional information about any of the supplies I use, please just ask me in the comments below. I respond and enjoy seeing every comment that I receive from our creative community. And if you're enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you would give it a like, a thumbs up. It really does help my channel to grow. Now, as you can see, I'm working on the squirrel among the berries, and I also have two more cute designs. One is a set of cardinals, and the other is another little branch with some birds. So once they're all complete and sealed, we'll let them dry, and in the meantime, we'll move on to our next project. Here you can see I've taken a second Dollar Tree crate and used a different rub-on transfer to decorate the front. And for this, I have a really fun DIY. I'm going to take a piece of the Dollar Tree floral foam and snuggle it down into the bottom of that crate. I discovered that I needed to use some hot glue on the bottom of the floral foam to hold it in place. These are some wood dowels from the Dollar Tree, and what you see me doing now is just defining those slits in between those slats. So it gives it a pretty definition and still retains the beauty of your design. The next thing I'm going to do is take one of those dowel rods and insert it up into the bottom of one of the Dollar Tree flocked bunnies. You can see here how I inserted that dowel rod up into that bunny and then inserted it right down into that floral foam. Again, adding some hot glue under the floral foam makes it hold in place very stably. Now I'm using some of the moss from the Dollar Tree. I was really happy that they had some of this in the nice green color, and I'm going to use that just to conceal the floral foam. Now that that is in place, you can always embellish the bunny in a variety of ways. I decided to keep mine simple by just adding on some of this crinkly ribbon I have, and I made a little bow at the top and at the bottom. I really love the way this turned out. I hope you enjoy making something similar. And now that all the coasters have dried, I'm inserting them into that little decorative crate. What a charming display this makes, not only functional, but decorative as well. This would also make a very sweet hostess gift tied with a bow, and think how many ways you could decorate these for all the seasons. This is the product Big Top After Show made by DIY that you saw me using to seal those coasters. It was the first time I've used it on wood coasters, and I noticed it brought out the beauty of the grain in the wood as well. I'm very excited to show you some easy ways to bring the springtime garden into your tablescape. I'm also going to show you a beautiful symbol of the true spirit of Easter as we create a wooden cross with the tumbling tower blocks. Lots more surprises to come, but we'll start with the cross. I'm opening a box of the multicolored tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree. I really love these blocks. I never get tired of playing with them, and these two tones make it really fun. I'm using some of this Gorilla wood glue to create a beautiful wooden cross. It's such an easy design, and I'm going to show you speeding up the video. I've chosen to use the dark wood blocks for the cross, and I think it's going to coordinate very beautifully with a picture I have of an outstretched hand representing the hand of Jesus with the wound mark in his palm. I'm going to use a Dollar Tree frame to frame all of this, and you'll see it creates a very beautiful display. As you can see, I'm just creating this very simple shape and using a wet paper towel to dab off any of the excess wood glue that oozes in between the blocks. These tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree lend themselves to so many different designs, and you can create crosses in a multitude of ways. And while the wood glue dries, we're going to take a look at another project. In my previous video, I showed you how to design this painted look on the Dollar Tree tray. Displayed on a Dollar Tree easel, it looks so pretty as part of a springtime tablescape. But today I'm going to show you another fun way to use these trays. I'm using this floral foam that I bought in a 4-pack from the Dollar Tree for $1.25. And using some hot glue, I'm just attaching all 4 blocks to the bottom side of that decorated tray. I made one of these for the fall, and it was my most popular video ever. So I thought you might enjoy seeing the same concept, but this time with a spring-inspired theme. You can see that those 4 blocks of floral foam fit perfectly on the bottom of the decorated tray. Next, I'm taking an assortment of the Dollar Tree florals. They have a wide array of colors and varieties of florals on display now in the Dollar Tree stores. So it's easy to find clusters of lilacs and petunias and all kinds of different flowers that you might enjoy and which would go well with your color palette. I chose some that I thought would complement nicely the design that I created on top of that tray. You can see that as I cut them apart, I'm putting them individually into the bottom there of that floral foam. The stems are concealed, and I'll also mention that I removed most of those green leaves. I think the green leaves are not as high quality looking as the floral stems themselves, so I decided to remove most of the green leaves. I left a few still in place, and you could always add your own higher quality greenery as well. I'm trying to create somewhat of a sense of symmetry, but there'll also be a randomness to the design, which I think is really pretty and very much the way things grow in nature. Here's a nice bouquet of petunias, and once I remove that tag, again, I'm just going to cut them apart, and they come apart pretty easily if you cut above that thicker portion where they're all connected. So once I get those cut apart, I will insert those individually as well, and you'll see I have a really pretty assortment of flowers. I did choose a variety of shades of blue along with some creamy whites, and I'm going to insert, as you'll see in a moment, some sticks and branches to complement the branch that all the birds are perched upon. And I'm also adding a few red berries because, as you see from the design, there are also some red berries on that branch. However you decide to design the top of your tray, it's nice to carry that theme right to the outer border of your florals. Now, you could also leave your tray plain. The one that I decorated for the fall was actually a plain Dollar Tree tray, and I just used candles across the top. For this one, because it does have a lot of design, I'm just going to put one small candle in the upper corner, and I think that's just a nice little accent without covering much of the design. Here you see I'm inserting some of the petunias, and I'm just going to go all the way around. Here's one of those sticks, and it's just a nice piece of branch, twig really, that I'm going to insert in a variety of locations. Your display will really be enhanced if you add in a variety of not only colors, but textures as well. Fullness really adds a beautiful effect, and you want to be sure to put some of your branches and stems and berries on either end as well. And here I absolutely love the result. You can see the varied colors and tones and textures I think they complement so beautifully the look of the design on the center of the tray. It's wonderful to be able to bring the beauty of the outdoor gardens and springtime spirit into the center of your dining table as it becomes a really beautiful part of your tablescape. And now that the cross has dried, I want to return to a very beautiful project. I had this picture. It's on a nice piece of cardstock with a glossy finish, and it's the outstretched hand representing the wound on the palm of Christ's hand, reaching out, offering us all that opportunity for his grace and mercy. And I want to frame it using a Dollar Tree frame. I had previously used this Dollar Tree frame with a piece of Dollar Tree wallpaper, and it made a really pretty display, but now I'm going to go ahead and remove that and use that frame for this picture. I thought the dark border went really well with this image. So now I'm going to go ahead and add on the cross. And just in deciding where to position it, I decided to put it on the other left side. And I'm also going to use some gold rub and buff just to highlight some of the contours of the cross as well as the frame. But first I want to take this piece of Dollar Tree white fabric that I bought in the Crafter's Square section, and I'm just going to cut one long strip and just drape it around the cross. The colors of white and gold that I'm using here in the rub and buff represent light and purity. So I am going to bring those colors into this design. I'm using some hot glue on the back side of the cross now and attaching it to the left side of the frame. And now as you see, I'm just taking that piece of white fabric and I'm just going to drape it around the cross, hot gluing it so that it has a little bit of fold to it and drapes down around the sides of the cross. You can see I added some gold rub and buff on the interior part of that cross, and I'm going to also add some of that gold rub and buff to the borders of the frame. As I finish up this highlighting, I'm anxious to show you just how beautifully this turned out. It's easy to find inspiring pictures, and you can choose a Dollar Tree frame and some of these tumbling tower blocks to create a cross. And you can see how easily and very reasonably priced you can create something that has a lot of beautiful visual and spiritual impact. And I just love how this has turned out. This image elicits a profound sense of joy as we realize that through Christ's sacrificial love for us, we've been freed from sin and death. And now we'll continue with some charming DIYs for your Easter table. These candlesticks and candles are all from the Dollar Tree. We'll be making adorable bunny-inspired candles, candlesticks, lace baskets, and more. And all of these projects will use budget-friendly Dollar Tree items. I can't wait to show these projects to you. They're honestly some of my springtime favorites. For our first DIY, you'll need 2 of these $1.25 candlesticks from the Dollar Tree and 2 of the Crafter's Square little ceramic bunnies. We're going to be making simple and elegant spring candlesticks. I'm also using this Behr spray paint. You can use, though, any spray paint that you may have on hand. You can see here I'm using some hot glue on that under surface of the bunny's paw, and then just gluing it on there so that it's nicely centered so that the candle will sit evenly with the base of the bunny. You can also use E6000 or a stronger adhesive if you choose. You can see here I'm attaching that second one, and I'm going to let those thoroughly dry before I take them outside and spray paint them. I also decided to add a little bit more hot glue in some of the other places where the bunny makes contact with the candlestick, just to secure it in place a little bit more. So now that the hot glue is dried, we're going outside, and I've put these candlesticks with the attached bunnies into a cardboard box, and I want to caution you to be sure to wear a mask and be outside in a well-ventilated space because these are toxic fumes. It's always good to just take that precaution. So you want to shake your can and give the spray paint lots of short bursts. I'm going to give these candlesticks 2 coats, but I'm going to let them thoroughly dry in between coats. So while that paint is drying, I'm going to show you a really fun technique for creating little Easter baskets out of lace doilies. These are from Amazon, but you can find these also in thrift stores, antique stores, and other places. I'm using a bottle of the Elmer's glue from Dollar Tree. You can find these bottles of white Elmer's school glue at Dollar Tree for $1.25. And you can see I've pretty much dumped out the entire bottle into this flat pan. I'm adding in some water just to thin it slightly, and I'm wearing some thin plastic gloves so that I can really get in there and mix that glue and water together. Once I have a nice blended mixture, I'm going to take one of those lace doilies and dip it, and you'll see I want to get a nice saturation. So here you see I'm taking that first one and just immersing it into that water glue mixture, flipping it over, smoothing it out, allowing the glue to really penetrate that fabric. And then after I get that fully saturated, I'm just going to squeeze out any excess and smooth it out. Now, as you see, I'm using an empty, rinsed out plastic container as the mold. I'm smoothing that doily over the back side of it and centering it so we have a nice base. And then, as you see, the doily kind of wants to ruffle on its own. So just allow those ruffles to go in place, forming them with your fingers. And then I'm using these craft clamps from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree to hold those ruffles in place. This is going to need to dry overnight. Now, you can see you just want to clip those vertically over the tops of those folds, and that will hold that design nicely in place as it dries. I'm carefully setting the first one aside so that I can dip the next doily. And as you see, that first doily absorbed a lot of the glue mixture. Fortunately, I had just enough left to saturate the second doily. But that gives you an idea of how much glue this requires. I thought it would be fun to go to an antique store and find some antique pieces of lace and maybe even make some larger baskets using this same technique. But for now, I'm starting with these small ones, and you'll see just how charming they turn out. So here I have an empty butter container that I've washed out, and this will be our second mold. And we're going to just, as you see, lay that doily right over the back side, allowing those folds to develop, and then we'll go ahead and clip those in place as well. Before recycling these empty plastic containers really work perfectly as forms to create these very nice basket shapes. So now as I've finished the second one, I'll set it aside to dry. And meanwhile, I'm going to show you a very clever technique. It's a very popular way of decorating plain candles. Now, I just want to caution you that these are going to be for decorative use only. We're going to be adding a napkin to the outside of the candles, and I'm going to use my small Cricut iron to adhere the napkin design to the candles. Almost any time you're using napkins for decorative purposes, such as the candles or decoupage, you want to separate the plies. In this case, this napkin is a 2-ply. It's easy to separate them if you put a little drop of Mod Podge in between your index finger and your thumb, and that allows you to just pull the separation apart very easily. So now I'm going to go ahead and position this around the first candle. These candles are very pretty, kind of a creamy color, but I thought that decorating them would really make them seasonally festive. So I'm just wrapping that napkin around the candle, and then I'm going to use some parchment paper as an overlay before using my Cricut iron to slightly melt that wax just enough to make the napkin adhere. I position the napkin just so there's a slight overlap, and I'm making note also of how the design is going to lay. Now I'm taking a piece of parchment paper and just overlaying that as a protective layer, and I'm going to use the Cricut iron to go over that. As you see, I've learned that the motion needs to be quick and continually moving so that you don't deform the candle. You don't want so much melting to occur that you in any way damage the candle. You just want enough to cause the slightest bit of surface melt to adhere that napkin to it. If you discover any spots that didn't adhere, you can just go over it again with that little iron. Again, moving quickly and not lingering in any one spot. And now as I remove that parchment, you can see how the design almost looks as though it's been painted on. Now here's another technique. In this case, rather than using the whole napkin around the candle, I just cut out individual bunnies, and then I'm wrapping the parchment around each little design. And as I use that iron, do you see how that color underneath is darkening? You can see that the slight amount of melting is taking place to fully adhere that lovely little design right to the surface of the candle, giving it a painted on appearance. And I'm going to cut out several bunnies and go up and down the candle. So there'll be several different bunnies on both sides of the candle. Now, if you'd rather have functional rather than just decorative candles, I found these at the Dollar Tree. I thought they were very pretty with that swirl pattern. Before returning to the candlestick project, I'm going to show you another fun one. This uses the little Dollar Tree cutout bunnies along with that pretty bunny napkin once again. This time I'm going to separate the plies, and I'm going to apply that top ply of the napkin design over top of the bunny. You see here I'm using one of the Dollar Tree sponge brushes to coat that wooden bunny with Mod Podge. Now I'm using a piece of parchment over the napkin overlay, and I'm just using my Cricut iron. That will smooth out any wrinkles in the napkin without causing any tears. So I'm going to set this one off to dry, but first I'm going to do a second bunny. You'll see there's quite a few bunnies within that $1.25 package, so you can make a lot of these either to hang on an Easter tree or to use as package tie-ons, or maybe even place setting cards. Adding individual names to these, wouldn't those be a delight to find at each place setting for your Easter table? So you see here now I've positioned a second one underneath, and I'm going to once again use that sponge brush, apply a nice even coat of Mod Podge. This is a large container, but you can buy the small containers for $1.25 at the Dollar Tree as well. So all of these items, with the exception of the napkin, can be found at the Dollar Tree. So you see I'm just applying that nice even layer, and then I'm going to go ahead and once again overlay that napkin. At this stage, that napkin is thin and wet, and it needs to be handled very gently. Should you create a tear, you can easily cut out the corresponding piece of the napkin and just patch it right in like a little jigsaw puzzle piece, and you'll never know the difference. I'm using that Cricut iron now gently over the surface of the parchment overlay just to eliminate any wrinkles. Carefully remove that parchment paper, and then I'm going to just set this aside to dry. And after allowing them to thoroughly dry, I'm just going to add a thin top coat of the Mod Podge, and then once again we'll set them aside to dry. These candlesticks with the little bunnies perched at the base and the decorated taper candles are so elegant and charming. for just a few dollars. I think these are really, really special. The finish on that spray paint is beautiful too. They have a really glossy, refined, elegant finish, and you would certainly never think that these were Dollar Tree items. If you're enjoying this video so far, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up, a like, and comment in the comment section below. I really do love to get to know members of our creative community, and I love to hear your thoughts. And now on to the next project. These little basket designs have now dried. I let them sit on the counter overnight, and I'm going to show you just how cute these are. You see they pull off easily from the bottom, and you can see now they have a nice rigid form while still having a very charming, almost vintage kind of look. I'm removing the clips on the second one here, and you can see that held those little folds and pleats nicely in place. And turning it over, it pulls right off. And just look at that. Isn't that a beautiful design? There's so many ways that you can use these for the Easter season and beyond. I'm going to start by showing you some fun ways that I could think of to display these on your table. First, I'm going to fill the first one with some Easter grass. And this is some pretty shred that I had from last year, actually. And it's got a beautiful pink and gold combination. And into that, I'm going to add one of these chocolate Easter bunnies. These are from Hobby Lobby. And I was so pleased with these because the quality is such that they actually look like real milk chocolate bunnies. Another option is to use some little Easter eggs. I had gotten one of the Easter egg garlands from Dollar Tree, and I took it apart, and I'm going to go ahead and just use a couple of the little bluebird type eggs along with one of the pink eggs and just lay those in the bottom of the basket. And you can see that's another sweet way of decorating it. This bag of Easter grass is from Dollar Tree, and I paid $1.25. You can see it has 3 different colors, and I'm going to go ahead and pull out some of that pink grass. This is more of a shiny style, but it'll give it an entirely different look. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some of this brighter pink in the bottom of the basket, just so you can see a few different options. The bright pink against the white looks very seasonally festive. And to this, I'm going to add an egg that I decorated using a napkin and some little embellishments from Dollar Tree. And I did this project last year. I have an entire video on decorating Easter eggs on my channel. Another option is to put the chocolate bunny against the pink, and I think that brown and pink makes a really pretty combination. I'll show you some more options in a moment, but first I want to show you that these have now dried, and cleaning up those edges is very easy. I'm going to use a piece of sandpaper. You could use also a nail file or one of the little finger sanders, but sanding works better than cutting with the scissors. You'll get a very sharp, crisp, clean outline this way. So I'm just going all the way around, and within a minute or so, I'll have this one fully defined. You can see that as I go around with the sandpaper, the napkin just easily peels away, leaving that nice, crisp outline. Isn't this so sweet? I love the way this little pink bunny looks tucked into the shred. There's so many ways you can have fun with these baskets. Once you make a couple or as many as you wish, you can fill them in countless ways. Here's a butterfly design on an egg. I used a napkin to create this effect. Here, I'm going to add one of the little decorated bunnies to the basket. For this, I thought it would be fun to add in some of the green Easter grass from that bag I purchased at Dollar Tree. I'll also use a few of the carrots from this 6-pack that I bought for $1.25. But first I'm going to go ahead and just tuck our little decorated bunny in the back of the basket, and then I'm going to scatter in a few of the carrots. These are just a few of my ideas. There are countless ones. Another fun idea would be to use the little baskets to hold foil-wrapped chocolate eggs or little Easter bunnies or other wrapped Easter candies. And of course, when the Easter season ends, you could use those little baskets to hold jewelry on your dresser. Well, there you have it, friends. Beautiful spring and Easter DIYs that are as elegant as they are budget friendly. We're going to start our next project with this nesting set of shaker boxes. These are all handmade, and you can see that they all have corresponding lids with the exception of one of them. So I'm going to just do a very simple transformation without in any way altering the beauty of this design. Because the wood grain is so lovely, I'm not going to paint them. It'll be very easy. We're just going to use these stunning IOD floral transfers. I like to lightly arrange the flowers first to see how I want them to look before I start rubbing. Once I'm happy with the placement, I press the transfer down firmly and start rubbing gently with the tool to apply the design onto the wood. As you see, I'm gently pulling back the carrier sheet, and as I can see, the entire transfer has applied beautifully, creating the look of a painted design. Now I want to show you the next slightly larger oval lid. I chose another very vibrantly colored floral bouquet, and as you see again, I'm keeping the pressure even as I go from one side over to the next, using that tool and carefully pulling back the backing sheet. That carrier sheet releases easily as the transfer adheres to the wooden box. You can easily see also if you've missed a spot, and just lay that carrier sheet back down carefully. That will allow you to just go over that section again. So here it is, I'm pulling back, and you can see the pretty little butterfly has alighted on that bouquet of flowers. And now for the reveal. Isn't this gorgeous? I can't get over how this takes on the look of a beautiful painted design, and they're so easy to do. You can personalize each box with different flowers or even mix and match designs for a unique look. Imagine, too, what a beautiful gift box this would make for someone, or you could display all of them as a set. With their bright, cheerful appearance, daisies are always in style. And for this small oval lid, I found the perfect rose. No set of flowers would be complete without this beautiful symbol of love. And there you have it. This set of shaker-style cherry wooden boxes are now beautifully decorated with these floral transfers. If you're enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you would just hit that like button. It really helps my channel to grow. Now, take a look at this. This is a charming child's toy, which is at least 60 or more years old. You can see it's in excellent condition, and I do not want in any way to alter this, but I am going to embellish it and make it seasonally festive for the spring Easter season. I'm going to use some of the floral foam that I bought from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to take this kitchen knife to cut some squares to fit into those two compartments of the bottom drawer. And that will allow me to decorate without damaging the drawers in any way. So you can see here they fit remarkably perfectly. I'm making them fairly thin. I don't want to raise it up too much because I'm going to be adding in a lot of fun decorative springtime elements. So you see it fills those little drawers just perfectly. Next, I'm going to show you a very clever way to paint some little plastic bunnies that I bought from the Tim Holtz collection. But first, I want to begin by decorating the cash register up at the top and around the keys. And so I'm using this garland of greenery that I believe I had bought from Hobby Lobby. With bunnies, moss, flowers, and garlands, we're going to give this nostalgic piece a whole new springtime look. Now I'm going to show you how to decorate the bunny. I learned this clever technique from the Ellen J. Goods channel. She showed how you can paint the little plastic bunnies by attaching them to a wooden stick. And I'm using this paint stirrer stick with a little drop of hot glue. That will allow me to paint each bunny upright and then remove them easily. While that's drying, I'm going to take some of the Dollar Tree florals and just remove some of the little flowers. And I'm going to arrange them in our garden that we're beginning to create in our cash register drawer. But before we create our little garden, I want to show you two lovely colors that you can mix to create the look of milk chocolate. I also got this combination idea from Ellen J. Goods, and she mentioned that she had done a quick YouTube search for the color combination. So that's another option for you. But you can use whatever you have. Just give it the look of milk chocolate because we're going to create the look of little chocolate bunnies. You can see how easily you can paint them while they're attached to that paint stirrer stick. And I think this is a great technique to have learned for painting any small objects. So I'm just going over all surfaces. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll do that 3 coats. And then I'm going to add a little bit of rub and buff just to burnish it with a little bit of shine. And now back to our garden. I'm also going to add some faux moss to the base of the cash register. Moss is such a great way to add texture and that natural earthy feel that really does evoke the feeling of springtime. I'm just going to use a very small, thin layer of hot glue and press the moss down gently. You can even tuck it in around the sides and the corners for a fuller look. You just need a thin layer to cover up that floral foam. And then I'm going to begin to add some of the decorative embellishments. As you see, I'm also allowing some of that garland to just kind of weave its way through so that it makes a nice transition. And now you can see that the bunnies have dried. I'm adding a second layer of that paint mixture, and you can see how it's really taking on the look of chocolate. And I'll make at least a couple of these, probably more, because I have quite a bit of paint mixed up. And I would like to scatter these bunnies in the garden and on the cash register. I also have some little carrots from a package I had bought at Dollar Tree. So I'm going to nestle those down into that floral foam as well. I had some of this white wood fencing left over from my Christmas gingerbread village that I made, and I thought it would be cute to kind of define the back of the garden and add another bit of visual interest and dimension. Adding spring flowers is so easy. Dollar Tree has a wide assortment, and you can mix any flowers that you love. I chose some little purple and white blossoms and have tucked them in among the moss, as well as putting a cluster behind the little white fence. Now I want to show you how easy it is to color some little mini Easter eggs to scatter throughout the garden. These are from the Tim Holtz collection. You can see what the package looks like. You can also easily create these using air dry clay. I took several and just used some watercolor paints to give them that dyed Easter egg coloring. And I think they add just the perfect embellishment in our little garden. You can see I also added 2 little bottle brush trees to create a background, and I draped them with some beaded garland. You can let your imagination take flight as you create these little vignettes in unexpected places. I had other little embellishments in my stash, and it was fun to add them in for little pops of color and surprise. So there it is. A charming vintage toy turned into a sweet springtime decoration. It's so much fun to bring the beauty of the outdoor inspiration into our homes. I have lots more new projects planned. I hope you've enjoyed these. And please do leave me a comment below. I love to get to know members of our crafting community. Also, if you haven't already subscribed, please do consider doing so. It's fun, free, and festive. Do take care, and God bless.